Persona 4 Golden was a very meaningful experience to me, and it's easily my all-time favorite game. I played it during my first year of college on my Vita. That was the time where I was going to a new place, to meet new people, and make new memories. I was, in essence, the protagonist of Persona 4. I would play this game in bursts on the shuttle, before bed, and of course, as an escape from studying. I loved the world, the characters, and the lessons the game had to teach. Now that the game has been released on Steam, a whole new generation is going to be able to enjoy Persona 4 Golden. I wanted to do something really special about my favorite game, and so I'll be going over every character in the series, explain their backstory, their in-game mechanics, their tarot card, and overall, just show some appreciation to some great characters, and what they meant to me. Consider this series of videos my love letter to the game. With this first episode, we'll be going over the protagonist, Yu Narukami. Yu Narukami translates to Calm Thunder God, as Yu can be directly translated to calm or quiet, which is how the character is perceived in all media. Yu is also a clear pun to you, the player. Naru translates to thunder or howling, and Kami translates to god or paper. Since Yu's first persona, Izanagi, uses Zio, the spell for lightning, it makes sense for him to be using the thunder usage of Naru, and Kami, relating to god, can be in relation to the spiritual aspect of personas and the eventual ascendance to the godly status of the world arcana. Also, Izanagi's a god, so there's that. Thunder paper could also work, and can be a direct and literal reference to the fact that personas, in this game, are represented as spiritual tarot cards, which are made of paper. Yu, like many of the Shin Megami Tensei protagonists, is the poster child for the trope heroic mime, otherwise known as a proxy character. A proxy is a stand-in for the audience. We are meant to experience the world through Yu. These characters are great tools for video games because they act as vehicles for the audience. Yu, in particular, is an exceptional proxy character because he's just so unassuming. He's nice, polite, confident, but at the same time, quiet, at least in the base game. He loses his mime status once we get our dancing and fighting spin-offs that no one really asked for. He does stay calm, though. The point is that anyone can be Yu Narukami, but this character resonated with me, at least at the time, because I was a late teen male in college, so I easily put myself in the shoes of Yu. For some reason, the Japanese treat high school like college. Anyway, the backstory of our character is left very generic, so we can ease ourselves into the story. Our parents have gone away on a business trip and must leave our school in Tokyo to stay with our uncle, Ryotaro Dojima, and daughter, Nanako Dojima, in the small town of Inaba. Now then, we'll be staying with them for an entire year. Will it be fun, or will this year drag on? That depends entirely on you. I love the premise of the story. It's very down to earth, it's simple, and it's a slice of life tale we can easily buy into. The town of Inaba is what I feel the real Japan is like. While many people think of the hustle and bustle of Tokyo, there's just so many humble villages with small markets. For those that wish to visit Inaba, it's not actually a real place. Inaba was inspired by some of the places in Fufuki City, specifically the Yamanashi Prefecture, located at the Chubu region in Japan. The station Yu Narukami gets off from is based on the Isawa Onsen Station, which is in the Yamanashi Prefecture. Inaba is meant to illustrate a subrural life that many people can relate to. Now, comparing to North America, I live in New York. A lot of people I know have this misconception about my state. They think living in New York means going to fancy bars and living the high life because, well, it's New York after all. But no, New York City is only a small part of the whole state, just like how Tokyo is a small part of the whole country. I actually come from a small hometown in upstate New York, and I can easily relate to the setting of Inaba. It's a place where nothing interesting happens, but I find it relatable because of that. It's real. If I were to describe Inaba to you, I'm sure it would describe most of our hometowns. It's got a gas station, a liquor store, a church, an underfunded high school, and they got a Walmart.
Every day is great at your Juness. Every day is great at your Juness.
100% precious. I'm sure I just covered 90% of the United States and its cities, towns, and villages. The only unique things in Inaba are the Amagi Inn, which is their local hot spring attraction, and they also have a restaurant that serves great beefsteak. I'm sure if you got your noggin joggin', you can think of something special about your hometown. In comparison, my hometown has the best ice cream, just hands down. We've got more cows than people. If you ever pass by upstate New York, I recommend going to one of our many Stewart Shops gas stations and getting a pint. My personal favorite is Crumbs Along the Mohawk, a graham cracker flavored ice cream. Also, if you have the chance, stop by Utterly Delicious for some soft serve in Johnstown. It's amazing. They aren't sponsoring this video, but, you know, I need to show some pride for my home state. I look at Inaba and think, man, I wish we had a local hot spring, but it's fine. Where I live, we've got a roller rink, a place to do paintball, and a couple good places to eat. Do you see what I mean? Nothing fancy, just regular suburban and sub-rural life. And why are those words not the same thing? On the flip side, I'm sure if you had a background in city life, you'd fit into used shoes just as well, because you're a stranger in a new place. But from my perspective, Inaba feels very much like home. It's the best type of catch-22 for the player. Yu begins his journey by getting off the train to be greeted by his uncle, Ryotaro Dojima, and his daughter Nanako. Our character doesn't remember his uncle because he was a baby at the time. This helps facilitate the self-insert nature of the Persona franchise. We have our polite introductions, and it's what you'd expect from a situation like this. Like, you're welcomed as family, but you're still an outsider. Which means you and you, I gotta start calling him Narukami, are in the same boat. What I like about this game is that these two characters, Dojima and Nanako, could have simply just been HUD world characters, and you know the ones, right? They exist just to be minor characters you come and see. But they play integral roles in the game's story. Ryotaro Dojima, or Dojima for short, is a workaholic cop. He constantly pulls overtime at the station, which, in turn, leaves Nanako, his elementary school-age daughter, home alone to take care of the house. You see glimpses of a broken family, and over time, their story will be told. It's hard to talk about Narukami without bringing up his relationship with the Dojima family, specifically his bonding with Nanako. When you initially meet Nanako, you're simply her older cousin. You live in the same house, watch TV, and eat dinner together, but you won't really interact. You get the idea that maybe she's a bit cold for a kid her age, but when you see her eyes light up when she hears the Junes jingle,
Every day's great at your Junes. Every day's great at your Junes. Aren't you going to eat?
Junes is the universe's equivalent to a Walmart, by the way. You see that Nanako is just a regular kid, but she's forced to grow up way too quickly and take on more responsibility because of her dad's absence. Eventually, when we make new friends, we invite Nanako along and we go from becoming just her older cousin to her big bro. It becomes a core part of Yu's character, and in turn, the players. You're an older brother now, and you need to take that responsibility seriously. When Nanako is kidnapped later in the game by a misguided Taro Namatame, we have a personal investment to save Nanako. She isn't just some princess we need to save for a reward. Some sick bastard just kidnapped our little sister. Let's get her back and beat the shit out of this creep. Nanako acts as a major turning point for the story, as the split paths to different endings occur after you save her. A lesson that we learn from this point in the game is that it's easy to cast blame on someone when you don't have all the facts. I'm not going to lie, when I first got to this scene, I chose to execute Namatame by throwing him into the TV. Oh yeah, there's a dimensional world full of demons called the TV world, and you enter it by jumping into a 55-inch TV at your local Walmart. JRPG narratives are so creative. Anyway, back to the real world, because honestly, explaining the TV world is an entire dissertation on symbolism, and that could be its entire video on its own. Let's return to the other family character, Dojima. We find out later through Dojima that the reason he works so much is so that he can find his wife's killer. Chisato, his wife and Nanako's mother, was killed in a hit-and-run accident on her way back to pick up Nanako from daycare. His passion to find this person has inadvertently strained his relationship with his daughter. While we, the player, can never replace Chisato Dojima, we can at least help fill that missing hole in the family. We help Dojima realize that he needs to spend more time at home, and we get our own coffee mug as a gift, representing that we will always have a home in Inaba. This is an example of why I love Persona 4. It has a very traditional Catholic message. That is, to help others by getting them to help themselves, otherwise known as self-help. We, the player, meet various characters with their own struggles and insecurities. We keep our mouth closed and our ears open. We help people realize some of the things they don't want to accept, or maybe are just unaware of. We keep an open mind and heart and accept people for who they are, because at their core, they're good people. Well, most of the time. The core message of Persona 4 is that people have insecurities and dark thoughts, but that only makes up a small part of who we are. It doesn't have to define us. However, if we don't accept those nasty parts of us and try to improve as people, it will consume us.
So you don't accept me? What the? Ah! Damn it, here we go again!
Our nature to help people comes from two places. One is the inherent good feeling that comes from helping, and the other is our tarot card. I guess the third would be it's because of how the game's designed, but that's breaking the fourth wall. Narukami's tarot is unique because he's the protagonist. He has the ability known as the wild card, which essentially means he has access to all Persona tarots, but his original one is meant to be the Fool. In traditional tarot lore, the Fool, in the upright position, is meant to represent innocence, freedom, inexperience, and creativity, a free spirit if you will. In the reverse position, it represents holding back, recklessness, and risk-taking. The Fool is meant to represent who you truly are. Give yourself the time to think about your decisions in life, and believe the world is your oyster. As Margaret, an assistant of Igor, states, the Fool Arcana does not mean it can be taken lightly. The Fool is number 0. It is the void from which all other things begin. It is meant to represent our journey and our potential. We, as human beings, are full of infinite possibilities. But just as the game illustrates, we can also be nothing. Persona 4 is a game where the fun comes from what you put into it. In theory, you can choose to not interact with any of the characters, actively choose not to help people, and simply go through the motions and leave Inaba never attaining the truth. However, if the Fool reaches out for the truth, they can attain the world. As the game progresses and you utilize the bonds you've created throughout your journey, you gain access to the World Tarot. In traditional tarot lore, the world in the upright position represents completion and accomplishment. If in the reverse position, it represents a delay of personal closure. The World Tarot is meant to be the final arcana for the protagonist, with the ability to create miracles due to its symbol of harmony, fulfillment, and wholeness. Narukami attains the world if you follow the path to the true ending, the golden ending. You feel a sense of accomplishment finishing every social link. But you can also attain the world without getting all the social links maxed, which personally gives me a sense of delayed closure. Since Yu has access to all Arcana, I'll go over his main personas. Izanagi, which represents the Fool Arcana, and Izanagi no Okami, which is obtained after gaining access to the World Arcana. Izanagi is given to Narukami at the Mole gas station by the goddess Izanami, who is disguised as a gas station attendant. It's so random. Izanagi was gifted 3 times and is represented in 3 emotions: hope, despair, and emptiness, which is meant to reflect Yu, Namatame, and Adachi. A quick bit of lore on Izanagi is that he is one of the founding deities in Japanese mythology. He and his sister wife Izanami created the islands of Japan. When Izanami died and was sent to the underworld, known as Yomi, Izanagi went to save her. However, this was rendered impossible as she is tied there forever. The dead are meant to stay dead, especially when they partake in food cooked in the furnace of Yomi. When Izanagi lights his comb on fire to see her, the same comb Marie holds onto in Persona 4 Golden, Izanagi is frightened to see Izanami's rotting corpse, and this brought shame to her. In anger, Izanami tries to kill Izanagi, but Izanagi stops her by blocking the way out of the underworld with a giant boulder. In response, Izanami promises to kill 1,000 humans each day, and Izanagi promises to give life to 1,500 humans each day. The story is meant to represent the balance of life and death, and one should take responsibility for all their actions by doing more. Something that Igor, the manager of the Velvet Room, warns the protagonist of in the beginning of the game. Will you be like a fool, like Izanagi, or will you mature? Izanagi originally takes the form of a rebellious Japanese high school student, very much in the same design as Yu. According to the in-game discussion about Izanagi's design, he was designed with masculinity in mind. very much in the same vein as Yukiko's persona was designed with femininity in mind. Proof they are the canon ship. Sorry, had to put that in the video. Izanagi has the delinquent look with an open jacket and popped collar. But eventually, when he's fused to become Izanagi no Okami, he gains a suit and tie, representing adulthood and maturity. Once Izanagi no Okami is attained, it's the end of the game. The hero defeats Izanami, proving that humanity has the right to exist, because there's still good people out there in the world. People who represent Friedrich Nietzsche's belief in the Übermensch, one that lives for the day and is an example for humanity. The game is amazing, and I'm so thankful for Atlus for making Persona 4 Golden and re-releasing it on Steam. You're able to fight shadows, help people realize their full potential, stand united with your friends, and once Narukami leaves to go home to Tokyo, he returns to Inaba regularly to see the friends and family who still love him, showing that once you've created strong bonds with people, nothing can truly break them. At the end of the day, I find Yu to be the perfect protagonist. He has a caring heart and is the big bro we should all strive to be. Speaking from a writer's perspective, he has that very stoic persona, which complements the very colorful cast we come to love, and we'll cover them in future videos. So go out there and reach out for the truth, you heroic fool, and capture the world. Well, thank you everyone for watching. This is the first in a series. I did a review of Persona 4 Golden a long time ago, and I wanted to do something a little different this time around. Persona 4 Golden is very special to me, and I know that the game will be streamed, reviewed, and every big YouTuber under the sun will finally give it the attention it deserved. It was the game to buy on the Vita, the system no one cared about. I'm happy this game is on Steam, and it will now be a mainstream hit for generations to come. I'll be honest, I'll miss the days it was once considered an obscure title, but I'm glad the game is getting its due. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe, it will mean a whole lot to me. I also read every single comment, so please type something. With that being said, have a good day.